welcome to the Ripple Effect podcast. I'm Jessica Ausbrook from Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union, along with my friend Kim Graves. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, I haven't seen you forever.
I know, since the last time we were here. Or
that's
yesterday.
actually true.
Well,
or it was
the day
maybe
before
the day before yesterday.
Yeah, we got our new setup here.
I love it.
Right?
Wow.
I like it too. It's looking good. And we have one of our favorite people, Sherry Rahl, is here with us from Hope. Sherry, how are you?
I am great, and I'm excited to be here. I've been in these seats before,
Yes.
so it feels familiar. And so I'm so excited to be with you two because we've been having fun already this morning.
Right. We're going to have a lot more fun. We have something brand new to talk about.
We do, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's called Hope. Helping other people excel. And as you know, I've championed a lot of causes in Kokomo. This is pretty near and dear to my heart just because I've got grandchildren that are affected and I've seen my daughter go through some things. And it's not really hard to paint the picture when you're trying to talk about autism and other disability awareness. Families that have somebody on the spectrum or have another disability, spina bifida, Down syndrome, you name it, it's a challenge in the whole family, and it takes a village. It just does. I've been in recovery and helping people, and it takes a village. So this is no different, but Beverly Foray, who owns Hope Behavioral Services, it was her vision to create a nonprofit that would be for all ABA clinics, as well as anybody that is supporting the cause of disabilities. And with that being said, she really wants to champion all. It's not about our clinic and it's not our nonprofit. It is the public's nonprofit. And we want to help all those affected, especially the parents, guardians, and those doing the caregiving. It's challenging out there.
It is. I mean, it's an everyday. It's not anything that can just happen and go away. It's something that affects you for the rest of your lives.
Yeah, once the diagnosis comes, and that's really the part that I want to be at. As a resource person, being a navigator that I have been through my life, I want to navigate them through that difficulty. Because once you are at the hospital or you're in a clinic and you get that diagnosis,
You're scared. What do you do next?
yeah.
Right.
Who do you reach out to for help?
Yes. And the other thing, then there's 49 things coming at you.
Right.
Do you know about the waiver? Have you applied for the waiver? Do you know how long the waiver wait is? Do you know what resources you have? It's going to be expensive. You know, you're going to need a wheelchair. You're going to need this. You're going to need, and everybody goes,
Yeah.
It affects everything.
And some may not even know what the waiver is, and there's no one there
know.
to direct them to say, this is your checklist.
Yeah.
This is what we can do to help you.
we need people who've been around this for a season, and we applied. The funniest thing is with Emma being Downs, I was at the public library and we were there for some kind of fair that they were having and hosting, and it was resources. And Bonavista was the first place that said, oh, you got a beautiful baby there. Have you applied for the waiver? And I'm like, waiver, what? You know.
What's a waiver? Yeah.
Yeah. And so they said, well, here's the application. Please make an appointment with us. Let's fill it out. It's about a 2-year wait. We're like, oh, wow. Well, what does it do? You know? So I've been there. I've done that. And we've went through it. And we have waiver services for Emma. And she's gotten some great therapies out of that. She learned how to count money.
Yay.
You know, to be a cashier, and learned how to run a coffee shop at school. And so those are things that I want to be able to provide those resources to parents and to the guardians and the caregivers. The other thing that really drives me is, what are they going to do in the future? Listen, there's not a lot of planning for their future.
Who's
going to
take care of them in the future?
Yeah.
What happens if mom and dad go first? I mean, that has to be a very, very scary and stressful thing to think about.
Because a lot of them are not going to support themselves on their own. And they may need some sort of supportive living. What's good? What's bad? What's ugly? Why do I have to make those choices? When do I need to start thinking of those choices?
Right.
We push Emma. You know, not every parent is like me and Brittany and going to push their child to be, excelling. And so how do you help that parent to know what the limits of that child or adult child is? And so I want to be able to provide jobs. I have a lot of connections in Kokomo, and one of those being Goodwill. And, you know, a lot of people think, oh, Goodwill doesn't really support our... Yeah, they do. They have the Excel Center, okay, which helps alternative to education for the regular school. I've seen kids excel out of the Excel Center, and it's been fantastic. I talked at their graduation ceremony this year. They had so many good graduates that have some great plans moving forward. Some of those are on IEPs. Okay, which is what you get. You get a 401B in school or an IPE. See, these are acronyms that everybody like, oh.
Individual education plan.
Thank you.
Right. And then the other one?
401B is the same thing. It's just a different factor in what that disability is. So with that being said, how can parents support themselves when they go into that IEP? Because with Emma, and I know I'm bringing up my grandchild.
It's an example, a real life one.
But I'm just telling people I've got some experience behind this. I'm not just coming at it and saying, oh, I'll just give you phone numbers. I know who to dial. I know who to get a hold of. And we'll get you a real connection so you're not going 7 places to get what you need. But there was somebody that was like a grandma to Emma, but it was a bit holding Emma back from being her own because things were being done for her. So it was breeding entitlement, right?
Right.
Well, we know what that does. So we advocated for her not to have somebody extra at school.
Okay.
Now that was uncommon to all of them, and it was highly contested, but it was the right thing to do for Emma, and she's much better for it today.
Well, and we
Made her stronger and self-sufficient. Yeah.
Everybody's different. And it doesn't matter who you are, everybody is different. Education is different for everybody.
It is. And I think that parents need to be able to advocate. They know their child better than we do. And then again, I've seen parents that are very far removed, like they can't deal with it. So I've seen all sides. And what I'm saying is I want to support that. Whether it's we got to pick up the kiddo and support, or we got to pick up the parents or the guardians or the grandma and grandpas and support. But here's the thing. There's goals that I have for this. Not only do I want to be the resource for them, but I think there's things we can do in our community that would bring help.
Like what?
Sensory equipment in our parks.
Sure.
Wheelchair accessible playground equipment. Now, I know that the mayor has already, at the last fundraiser we had, gave the green light to talk to Tori Rowe at the Parks Department and say, how can I write a grant so we can get that equipment there?
And I mean, like anything, we helped out with some fundraising for an all-inclusive playground out in Rocheville.
Yes.
And playground equipment is very, very expensive. It's very expensive, hundreds and thousands of dollars to ensure that our kiddos of all abilities can play at the park.
Yes, that's exactly right. And that's the reason on this nonprofit, it will take a time to get the 501c3 stamp from IRS because we did apply for a larger amount. You can apply under 50. Or you have to go over 50 on the gross revenue. And because equipment is going to be 50 to 100,000, and eventually Beverly's vision is to build a park that is all inclusive.
I love that.
And to get ground and actually do that. Now, on the site of Hope Behavioral Services, we have a fishing pond with a fountain.
Oh, I didn't know
Fountain shut down for the winter, but in the spring, we have a bid, and I have Leadership Kokomo, Shannon Spencer and her team are working to be able to build a deck that would have a wheelchair ramp on it, about 60 feet. And we want to be able to have 5 wheelchair abilities to get on there. So we want it big enough.
Right. And
that is a stocked pond, and eventually a shed that we would be able to either sell bait, snacks, pop, and have a shelter out there where people can come that are in wheelchairs, and they can be accessible to get there. So that's the first thing on the horizon is, can we do that to make a place for them to learn how to fish?
Oh.
Okay. And then from there.
Hang on. Did they say teach a man to fish? Right? Teach anybody to fish.
That's good. I love it. And then I think about accessibility. When I say this, it's about wheelchair bound teenagers. they may be 50, 120 pounds. Where can we change them? So they need a private stall with an adult changing ability station. And those they run $3,000 to $5,000. Wow. So again, is that something that we can put in a few places around Kokomo until we gain enough momentum in the financial arena or write enough grants that we can put those out there? Because when you think about, and you see a child in a wheelchair, think about that mom or that dad or that caregiver, and what is the bathroom ability at that point? Do they do it in the back of the car seat? Do they do it in the back of the van? And the cold, wet, it just isn't private.
There's a dignity thing.
Amen.
Right.
Amen. So that's something that Shannon Spencer and I are pretty tight on, is let's try to get that accomplished by May. Can we get our first one out there and then bring awareness to that? So not only playground equipment, but what about a night out?
Have fun, yeah.
For the guardians and the parents.
Yeah.
I don't care if you go home and go to bed for 2-3 hours. If that's what you need,
Right.
do it.
Right.
If you want to go on, get the Christmas shopping done, or you want to go out and have a picnic with your husband, great. If you want to just go out with girlfriend, fine. I want them to relax and have some space to breathe.
Well, and maybe they're with a caregiver that you trust really well, that is going to take good care of them. It's going to be hard to leave.
Are you thinking about providing that service as well? Wow.
Yes, because our ABA clinics around town, I think about Engaging Minds and Circle City and Indiana Behavioral, all of them employ RBTs. Now, if I can write a grant and I can pay the RBT.
What's RBT?
RBT is a registered behavioral tech.
Okay.
And that is somebody that's boots on the ground with the kids. They're on the floor. They're teaching them. They're working with treatment plans. Now, we would have to have an application process because we need to know the kiddo that's coming in or the teen, what's their likes and dislikes, what sets them off, what we would need some information. But we're going to get to know these parents and these families. But what if they could drop that child off knowing that they have a registered behavioral tech that is going to be with that kiddo for the evening? Now, we're going to pay that registered behavioral tech to be there through a grant, and then those parents can have their night out. To me, if we could provide, I'm not saying we could do one a month right away, but once a quarter. And then we can begin to process how can we financially do that more. It would give some breathing room. It would give some self-care to those that don't get much.
They're probably working full-time, taking care of people full-time. It's a big lift.
It is.
It's a lot.
It is. And it's going to take a village. So that comes to the needs. The needs are obviously financial. We know that with every nonprofit. But what I really want to stress today is interns, volunteers, people who have a passion for this cause. I would love to do an orientation with each individual that would want to jump on and say, what part or piece do you want to carry through this? And it doesn't have to be a forever. I've got things that are 2 or 3 days. I've got things that could be a couple times a month. But what part is passionate for you in this cause? I think there's people out there that will snap onto this pretty quickly because it is affecting a lot of people. And I think people are seeing it more. 1 in 36 are diagnosed with autism.
Oh, wow.
And that has risen greatly, and it's going to continue to rise because the root cause has not been found yet.
Yeah, well, and I think maybe for a really long time, we didn't know what it was. Like, I think folks have had autism for a while, but you just don't know how to pinpoint things.
That's true.
And nothing is the same. Everything is different. Yep, they're all different.
Why do you think that it has taken so long for a program like this to be developed? This has been going on for years. So why do you think that nothing has been done like this before? I'm kind of surprised because I have a cousin that has Downs as well, and he's working. He's doing extremely well. He's an amazing young man. And I am surprised that there has been nothing like this available, which would have been great a long time ago.
Right.
It would be great now. But why do you think? Do you think it was just put on the back burner because it wasn't a priority?
I do. And I think that, we've had Bonavista here for years.
Yeah,
and I do think that they've taken the big burden of this. But now the ABA clinics are in Kokomo and all around. I'm going to tell you that finding employees in those clinics is challenging.
Oh, sure.
I help Beverly recruit, and I've got to go to the colleges to get the BCBAs, which are master level students. It is, ABA world is still an unknown. Even on Governor Holcomb's, the need out there, and he has a list of those jobs that he needs people to get into. It is on one of those levels where people don't know what an RBT is. They don't know how you become an RBT. All the ABA clinics train them themselves because right now we don't even have schools for that. Now, I can't let the cat out of the bag, but we do have a college here that is going to take on a role. And that is because Allison Lyons with Engaging Minds and me, we went to an after hours, and then all of a sudden it was like, hey, Chancellor Ethan, we need to do this.
Now you let the cat out of the bag.
And there is something on the horizon to try and get people trained and girded up for this field, and then working along. But as far as nonprofits, I can say that Engaging Minds were the first nonprofit in town. They were called the ARC. And it was the Autism Resource Center. And so I'll give my hats off to them that they actually, started that process. And it's because they had boys that were on the autism spectrum and they needed that at the time. I just don't know where that went. But at this point, with Beverly's vision, I feel her pain. I see the pain every day in parents' eyes and the caregivers. So I just think this is the right thing to do.
I think so too.
And I think that we can bring more awareness for it, but there's so many issues in America and around the world that I think this is just one of those that it just gets put to the side.
The parental part or the guardian part for sure.
Yeah.
I think we have made so many great leaps and bounds about taking care of all our folks who have disabilities, especially in Kokomo. You've mentioned all these different organizations. And everybody partners, and we continue to see more people stepping up to help take care of people in need.
And that's the reason why I just want to raise awareness that helping other people excel, helping that child become everything that they can be. And then what job are they designed and created for? Let's find out what that purpose is.
I imagine it had to be so fun and exciting to see Emma really get into that niche and learn those things. Oh, I bet it was so great.
Yeah. So, Emma's desire is to be a baker. And your nephew, what is he doing for a living?
Oh, my cousin?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is working at a restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and he probably absolutely loves it.
He does, yeah.
And they love people. And so some of our, the autism, they may be behind the scenes. I call him the red stapler dude, because, very highly intelligent. Highly intelligent.
Yes.
I mean, let's talk about some famous people that have autism. Elon Musk.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a lot of people that Dan Aykroyd.
Really?
Really. So these are highly educated people that can become something phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever they want to be.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think we just find that talent.
I like that. So if we want to learn more about Hope, helping other people excel, we'd like to make a donation. We'd like to volunteer. Where do we go? What do we do, Sherry?
All right. Well, I'm going to just put my phone number out there is 765-437-1674. They also can email me at sherryr@hbservices.care. Right now, I work for, Hope Behavioral Services, but I am here on behalf of all ABA clinics. saying that we're in this together and we want to champion the cause. So
well, we've watched you connect things for years and years and years. And this is a perfect position for you. I'm really happy for you.
thank you very much.
Lots of well wishes. You're going to do fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you. You guys have been champions for a lot of people, and we appreciate you.
Hey, you're right there.
Yes. Look at us. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, Kim.
Hey.
Thanks
Miss
for
you,
joining me and
Jess.
you. I miss you. Okay, see you next time. That will wrap up this episode of The Ripple Effect. Thanks to Solidarity Community Federal Credit Union. She's Kim Graves. She's Kim Graves. It's a new set, you guys. I'm Jessica Ausbrook. Thank you so much for watching.